Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for my client Michelle's vlog. And as I have said the last couple of vlogs, we've made some minor changes because she is going to do bikini. We're doing more delt work, more calf work, more isolation work. But keeping in mind, she is planning on doing possibly national and worlds this year in powerlifting. And so we obviously have to keep our big lifts up. So what we do, we're still running a 4-day upper lower. Both upper days, we start the day with a training max on bench that is approximately 90% for her. Lower days, we do a max squat one of them, we do a max deadlift the other. Again, the same thing, they're training maxes. We are not going, crazy hard on those. They just need to be 90%. Everything else is hypertrophy work. Everything else is 10 plus reps. It's all supersets. So for those curious, like those pull-ups she did right there, she does a set of bench press and then a set of pull-ups back and forth as a superset. Everything 10 plus. The pull-ups, she of course can do sets of 15 at this point. So again, our pull-up strength is strong, really strong lats. Yes, her scale weight has gone down a little bit more. It is something that we are having to deal with. Ideally, I'd like her to not continue to lose weight, but it's kind of some circumstances a little bit out of our control. I'm not going to go into all the details because, again, client's personal stuff. But yes, her body weight is down a couple more pounds at this point. All right. For our second exercises, then usually what we do incline benching and then we do dumbbell rows. So between these two movements, we are hitting pretty much everything from two different angles. Her entire back, entire chest gets two different angles done as supersets. So again, antagonistic supersets are the name of the game for her. It's how we train almost everything. Right, it's how we train almost everything. And I didn't even put every exercise in here, mainly because these vlogs would get way too long. So we did 90% of our exercises in here, just one set. So that's our first two supersets, and we do 3 sets of both of those. Then after that, we come over and we do an upright row, and we superset that with, right now, a dumbbell tricep extension. Okay, so we pulled the JM presses out, mainly because her JM press strength is really good. We don't need it any stronger. Her bench lockouts are great. I just want general tricep size at this point, so I want to make sure we're getting that long head. So again, a lot of this stuff we may not care about as much for her power lifts, but if she's going to do bikini, we need this. Of course, she had some photo shoots this week. Pictures are up on all her social media. Looks fantastic in the photo shoots. So what we do there, again, this is a superset. So if you notice, that's even her same bar there. So then we superset this with the lying dumbbell extensions. So again, these are not fully antagonistic like we might do with arm supersets like you see me do, because I want to get this delt work in. And the reason for that, she needs the extra cap delts, right? We need calf work. So this is stuff that we're adding in, and so we're making it a priority. So in her case, yes, we do 2 different delt exercises, just like we have 2 chest, 2 back. Arms, we're only doing 1 of each because we have so much pressing and pulling. We have all these big compound movements, hitting all these different angles. We just need to make sure that her arms get finished off. So what we end up doing for the final supersets here, we do her lateral raises. So she's hit a compound and an isolation for her delts, with a focus on the side delts, because we do a lot of pressing and pulling. I mean, pull-ups, the rows, everything, her delts are hit. So with a lot of this, I'm going to really put that emphasis on the side delts, because again, we have to get those bigger. She's a drug-free lifter. And again, she's going to do bikini. That can very much be a limiting factor. Same thing with the calves, right? Her calves, we've got to bring those up. So we'll discuss that on the lower day. And then, of course, we superset this with just standard dumbbell curls. And we do these in a supine grip. We don't bother with any hammer grip or anything at this point because, again, we do pull-ups. She does sets of 15 for full range of motion on pull-ups. We're then doing dumbbell rows. All of our pronated and hammer grip is really covered by the compound. So at this point, I want to really come in and just focus on the bicep itself, getting that supine position, because that is not being worked on the others. And again, keeping in mind, when we're looking at stuff like this is at this point because she's doing physique competitions coming up potentially. That's the plan. She's doing modeling. We have to actually start thinking about all these little fine details, right? Things that we normally probably wouldn't matter to most lifters. They really aren't that big of a deal. In her case, they are. Okay, lower body day, I didn't put everything in here mainly because this vlog's just going to get too long, so some of the calf work and pull-throughs and stuff are not in here. But we do a back squat. Okay, this is, again, this one's a little grindy for her, even though it's training max. So that's how we know it was, the fatigue was maybe a little high that morning. I can judge the bar speed based upon me using a static weight so that I keep the weights pretty much the same, and I can observe as a coach what's going on with the fatigue on that bar speed. All right, then we do leg presses. Now, I used to have her do these a bit wider. Right now, we're doing a relatively close, just right at shoulder width. Why? Need to make sure her quads are growing. We're doing plenty of posterior chain work. Okay, a lot of posterior chain work. We have single leg exercises. I'm not worried about any of that from the squat pattern movements at this point. I'm really worried about that knee movement. I want to make sure that we are building the quads. And we know based on the data on all squat pattern movements, squats, leg press, doesn't matter. Okay, the angle doesn't matter as far as quad activation of the hip angle. What matters is the depth, how much knee, flexion we get at the bottom, right? Seems to be the biggest factor in total quad activation. We can just get a little deeper in that position. We can get a deeper knee angle, okay? So that's what we want from that. Again, trying to bring up the quads that way, particularly the lower part of the quad is really most impacted by that. Before people say, oh, you can't bias a different part of the same muscle, except the quads is completely different heads, right? So in that case, yeah, you absolutely can to some extent. And we know that. Deep positions are what build the whole area around the knee, right? Vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, all that. All right, then she, of course, supersets all this. So what we do for the first thing, it's a tricep. We do a leg we do a leg exercise first, a quad exercise, which is a leg press. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Then we do the glute ham raise, very similar to what I do a lot of. And then we finish it with standing calf raise. So again, this is done as a tricep. So the upper body we do supersets, lower body we do triceps. So it's usually, a quad, a hamstring, or posterior chain, and then a calf movement. All right, same thing we do over here at the end. And I didn't include the others because, again, the footage is getting really long otherwise. I did put her deadlift up from day 2 right here at the end. But then we kind of repeat the same process. We do a split squat. Right, so we do both legs. Then she does a pull-through, band pull-throughs, and then we do a seated calf raise, all as a tricep, all to fatiguing sets. Again, there's a large also conditioning and GPP component to this, but I wouldn't always do this to all of my lifters, other than in her case, she is a really high level of general physical preparedness. She also has a background as a very competitive boxer previously, so she's in shape. So we can train like this. We can get away with this. Then, of course, she deadlifted at the start of the second leg workout, which I put in at the end for you guys so that we at least see a deadlift and show that she's doing it. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.